Hey everyone, this is FreeSimG. So for today, we're going to actually go over all the recent KR event that's actually happening right now for today on their side of the things. So if you can actually see what's going on the very first webpage I actually pull up for you guys, this is actually a new dungeon that's been recently released for the Korean server today. It's only one dungeon for today, and you can see the down information below, which is still in Korean text, which I can't really select to give you a translation now. So this dungeon is actually going to have a lower combat power requirement of 220,000, so which is significantly lower than the other one that we have for the raid boss that we have right now in the North American server, but it's still pretty high for it. And then the dungeon, you can probably see any other Elsword Korean YouTubers actually are doing gameplay of it, so you haven't watched it yet, do see Messa Lee or Amazon Zero, which he is actually playing a dungeon right now on his channel. So if you want to see it for yourself, you can actually check out his channel. And you can see right here, there's a reveal of tier that I actually did mention before, but I actually went with my assumptions that he's going to be a new playable character, but you guys actually say he's not, so I take that back on the word. But you can actually see the concept of red versus blue, which in this case is innocent. In this case, she's blue versus red, so we can have this relationship between them both. And from what I can assume right here, it's basically almost a sour relationship right now. So possibly there's a chance that we actually might see Tyr as a final boss, because if you read the text behind what happened to Rousseau as a raid boss, he's the one that's responsible for his corruption. So yeah, he could be a possible final boss towards the end. So I'd like to see what you guys think about him being a final boss, or if he has any other role in the game. So let's go and move on right here. You have these accessories that has certain significant stat increase on whatever you do right here. So I can't read Korean, so if you guys actually are familiar with reading Korean, you can actually post down in the comments down below, providing the translation for all of us. And you can see the new field right here is pretty dark and blue, and it's almost like you're in a mine cave somewhat. And you can see on the very left right here, a very friendly version of Tyr. A little bit more of it around the teenage years compared to the child form and the webtoon that we saw before. And see, in this part right here, ooh, this is a little dark wisp right there, if I remember from the Man of Blood Eaters that we still remember from Melder. But in this content right here, all the raid dungeons that were available for any of us who are actually our power level 250 or above, those dungeons are reduced to 180,000 CP. So for those of you who actually are within that range, you guys are allowed to hit the dungeons. But the only thing that you can't do about this dungeon is you can't obtain the weapon. So just to make things a bit more compensated on a much easier scale, you can see actually this dungeon's going to still be hard regardless, but it probably won't be hitting it as hard as before. And you can see in this on the drops right here, you still can get the gems. So my bad. If you actually want to collect all these crystals right here, you can actually do the much easier version and try to grind for it, just in case you want to upgrade your void weapon, or if you're still holding on to your raid weapons such as like Perkius or Eltron, you can probably upgrade those too if you actually do want to. And you can see right here, they have their events of stalling with at least 20 minutes, and you get all this reward right here. And they have all these series of wars over time, but I won't actually explain to you guys since I can't read Korean. And moving on to the more greater part about this update is the new IceBurners. So I'm trying to get open right now, and this IceBurner is called the Black Messa set. And for those of you who actually are fans of the Hamel Naval Officer or Hamel Arctic Officer set, but want more of a more black and white scheme with some accents on red, this set is good for you, because that color scheme is actually something up for your standards right here. So you can see Elsa's in the back right here. She's pretty little badass with a one side ponytail and her really good, interesting haircut. And then in the background, you can actually see a Elsword version of it, which doping the same outfit as her, but a more sleek, for more gentleman-like. So I'm going to show you guys what they look like if they were to be in the game. So you can actually see Elsword's swords a lot more significantly more longer. It's almost like a, I don't know, Elsa's like this length sword. And keep going here, you can see Aisha's, see those darker right there. And you see that even the weapon turns red too. And this one's Reyna. The Raven, this looks even more badass with the hat and all. But so we can actually safe to assume that you can actually get the hat version or without it, but I think the hat is actually going to look better overall, just to fill in the shoes that is kind of missing without the hat. Even his gloves gets a little badass too with the black in color, just to make it more matching with the color scheme. Then you have Eve here with the crosses. You have Chung with the giant looking one that looks like a coffin. Like, yeah. And then keep going here. You have Ara. Then you have Elsa's here, which her sword turns a little bit more squarish, similar to what Elsword's promo sword was like before, which is a pretty interesting design that they took. You have Ad without the hat, and even his Dynamos turns a little bit more bloodish red compared to the other characters out there. Then you have Lucille with both without their hats. Then you go into Rose with her hat on. And then you have Ein with his cross pendulum that he has right now. So you can actually see right here some of the stuff you can actually get from it. So you can get either the IceBurner itself, a +10, or either these two tiles you can get from the IceBurners, which actually is one of the best tiles you can get out there. And after each time you burn the IceBurner, you have a 100% chance to get the materials for it. And once you get enough materials with it, along with the other stuff, which I'll explain later in the video, and you can actually see some set effects here. Although I can't read Korean, I assume that there's a 3% chance to activate a buff to your character. And assuming this 10 means it actually stacks up to 10 times, so you can probably imagine how much stuff is going to go behind it. And there's another 3%, I think it's a 3% chance whatever this effect is applying a debuff on an enemy. So this is going to be probably more OP IceBurner up to date yet. And assuming this one is something for MP 50%, and probably if this buff is activated, your MP cost of that particular skill would drop to 50% if I actually can assume this right correctly. And yeah, and overall the set effect, I wish I can't read, but I think this is going to be a significant stat boost to your character if you were to get the full set. And mentioned this before, if you collect all this etc. items once you burn with 200 of these pieces, 200 of these mystery L shards, and 200 complete recovery potion, you actually get this earring, which you guys see magnified here, which is kind of tiny. This looks pretty dope. And there's all the stuff you can get from it. So right now we're promoting a temporary set. You can actually get a temporary set for 1 day just to try it out, see how it looks on character. And you can see Elsword's real image, which is pretty dope right now. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Hopefully, I think in my opinion, this set looks a lot more better than compared to the chess one, but don't get me wrong, chess piece actually has its own design right of being, looks very good, and the set effects is pretty OP, but for my taste, I like the more black and red and white scheme because that suits my color preference the best. And yeah, if you actually are considering getting for the set, I say, for those of you who actually are burning for that set, hold on to your money until this thing comes out either towards the winter of this year or early spring of next year, if assuming we actually get the Korean server within a month after. So hopefully you enjoyed this video of me going over the overview of the Korean server. So hopefully I get to see you guys discuss down below in the comments below if you actually like the set, or if you're willing to try the new raid dungeons that most of us weren't able to have access to. So yeah, I do look forward to see those comments, and this is Isnt, and I'll be signing out of this video.